Let's talk language. Arabic is a beast, a challenging one. On the difficulty scale, it's right up there with Mandarin and Korean. The crabbed alphabet, the throat-straining pronunciations, the shape-shifting verbs, and the 100 words they have for things, like camels, each describing a specific type, a distinct hump, or even its mood. It's a whole big complicated mess. Here's the thing. Arabic has been around for centuries, pretty much unchanged. Unlike other languages that evolve and make old words obsolete, Arabic has stayed true to its roots, and its richness is staggering. Arabs were deeply proud of their language, admiring those who could weave words like master carpet weavers. Beautiful, intricate, and full of life. But beware, mess up their language, speak with an accent, stumble over a word, and you'd earn the nickname Ajam, basically a foreigner choking on Arabic. Language is a powerful tool. The right words can move mountains, or at least convince others to move them for you. In Arabia, poets and politicians were the ultimate word-wielding wizards. They used their linguistic skills to sway hearts and minds. Their artistic brilliance was widely recognized, even by an audience of mostly illiterates. After all, you didn't need to read to appreciate the beauty of a master storyteller. In a society where words were weapons, the most eloquent tongues ruled supreme. Arabic, as one of the few sophisticated assets they possessed, became a tool to satisfy a fundamental human need: entertainment. In pre-Islamic Arabia, entertainment meant poets. These guys were the media, the rock stars, the full package, and unsurprisingly irresistible to the ladies. They spun tales, recounted epic battles, and rallied their tribes like a pre-battle hype squad. Walking history books and PR machines rolled into one, they had the power to make or break reputations. Naturally, everyone, from warriors to chieftains, vied to be in their good books. But it wasn't art for art's sake. A poet's cleverly worded verses could stir up feuds between tribes, reigniting old tensions by pressing exactly the right buttons. Their job was to promote their tribe and boast of its accomplishments. Often working closely with the chieftains, these poets were the original spin doctors, shaping public opinion to fit the chieftain's agenda. If the chieftain wanted to rally people for war, the poet would craft an epic to remind them of their glory and the crimes of their enemies. If the chieftain sought peace but feared backlash, the poet would console the tribesmen and urge patience for revenge. But they weren't just mouthpieces, they were educators, nurturing social values through their verses. Their words inspired warriors to fight bravely, reminded the wealthy to share generously, praised lovers for their devotion, and even softened the hearts of rulers. How? By promising them immortality of a sort. Poets could etch a person's name into eternity through their verses, ensuring they'd be remembered long after they were gone. Poems weren't just words. They were ammunition. Like armies storing gunpowder before battle, Arabs memorized their poems with fierce dedication, ready to unleash them in poetic contests. Think of it as the original rap battle, but instead of dissing moms, they were dissing dads. It was all about proving our blood is thicker than yours and our dads are cooler, trading insults back and forth until tempers flared and someone drew a sword. They also held annual boasting competitions, with the best poems displayed at the Kaaba, the holiest site in Arabia for everyone to admire. In short, poets were the ultimate celebrities of the desert. They were the news anchors, propaganda machines, tribal cheerleaders, and the voice of reason, or unreason, depending on the day. Now picture this, a group of sun-baked men in robes huddled in a tent. No, it's not a cult meeting, it's the election of a new sheikh. The old leader of the tribe, the big cheese, has passed away, and it's time to pick his successor. Unlike modern elections with polls and public votes, this wasn't exactly a democratic process. It was more like a family business meeting. A council of elders, the wise old men from each big family in the tribe, gathered to select the new leader. So what made a good sheikh in their eyes? Forget charisma or fancy speeches. This was all about experience and strength. Ideally, the candidate was the oldest man around, with a hefty bank account and a family tree full of desert nobility. But being rich and wrinkly wasn't enough. He also had to be fiercely zealous, ready to defend the tribe like a mama bear protecting her cubs. And Prejudice? That was practically a job requirement. The more obsessed he was with his tribe's honor and reputation, the better. But sheikhs weren't exactly dictators, barking orders at everyone. They usually consulted with the elders before making major decisions, as they depended on their support to stay in power. Think of it as a primitive version of checks and balances. The elders kept the sheikh in line and the sheikh kept the tribe united. Once the elders agreed on a candidate, the official ceremony began. The tribe gathered around, shook the new sheikh's hand, a gesture called bay'ah, and pledged their undying loyalty. Being a sheikh came with perks: ultimate respect from the tribe, control over armed men, and the power to decide matters like war, worship, and marriage. And the spoils after successful war: gold, slaves, women, rare jewelry, and fancy camels. The sheikh claimed a hefty share. But there was a catch. By the time someone became a sheikh, they were often too old to enjoy the spoils, kinda like winning the lottery on your deathbed. So while the role offered power, respect, and loot, it came with immense responsibility and constant pressure to keep the tribe content. Not exactly a walk in the park. What about his subordinates? In the tribe, a person's value wasn't about being a good friend or kind neighbor. It was about loyalty to the tribe, their blood family on a larger scale. Everything else came second. Some might call it prejudice, or as the Arabs called it, العصبية, but for them, it was the glue holding everything together amid difficulties and relentless internal conflicts. There's an old Arabian saying that captures this perfectly. My brothers and I against our cousins, and with our cousins against enemies. Basically, when push comes to shove, you stick with your tribe, no matter what. And why all this loyalty? Because first and foremost, they believed their tribe was the best tribe the desert had to offer, the most spectacular bunch of sand dwellers this side of the Sahara. They were convinced their ancestors were a tier above anyone else's. Unlike modern racism, this wasn't about skin color, it was all about lineage and blood ties. They weren't merely individuals but parts of something far greater, a family tree. Their identity and purpose were rooted in this connection. Think of it as nationalism on steroids. But there was no concept of a country, just their tribe. A man owed nothing to anyone outside his circle of blood relatives, even if they were born in the same region, spoke the same language, or worshipped the same gods. This was deeper than loyalty. It was a way of life. Their actions and beliefs all centered on one question: what benefits the tribe? This whole blood-based loyalty started small, with families sticking together. Over time, it expanded to include anyone even remotely related. A tribe's border stretched as far as its blood relations. If two tribes united through intermarriage or shared ancestry, their border widened. Basically, if you had even a single drop of the tribe's blood in your veins, you were in. Everyone else, out of luck. But as much as elders tried to preserve old traditions and prejudices to maintain the status quo, nothing was set in stone. If a tribe moved closer to a city and mingled with the locals, their loyalty could begin to waver. They might even marry outsiders, abandon their old ways, and in the eyes of staunch traditionalists, become soft. If you like more history-packed dives into the past, show me with a click or two and tell me what story you want me to unravel next. Until then, take care.